We all know that lockdown has been a challenge for everybody. Many new remote workflows and technologies have been learned, as well as adapting to new procedures and ways of creating content to keep the entire crew safe.
Yeah, a lot of what has been implemented over the last 12 months now seems like the norm, and a lot of it is likely to continue as a normal way of working. One company at the heart of much of this change is Boxer, and we're welcoming back Marc Risby to tell us what's changed and what to look forward to.
Hi Marc, welcome back to the show. Good to see you again.
Hi, good to see you.
So as many of us are looking forward to lockdown easing, where do you think your customers are at this moment in time on the COVID timeline?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I think when I was last speaking to you about 10 months ago, we were in the heady days of lockdown 1.0, wondering what all this meant. And, I think I referred to it then as our Apollo 13 moment, the time the engineers had to make it work with what they had, with them. They could just go out and get other stuff.
Exactly.
There's no popping into Tandies. And also, I think we were given the license to try new things. Engineers were being told we just got to get this working. So they were, we were using things like regular conferencing systems like Zoom and Teams to get on air, using the public internet. Editors were taking machines home and using sort of cheap cloud services just to get, programs out. And, people made it through. And I think by and large, it's an excellent job of an industry of keeping things going, keeping the show, show going. But now I think, we do see that we're coming towards, well, hopefully an end. Certainly the vaccine moving, fast now everywhere, which is fantastic. And I think we're starting to look about what happens when we get back to work. And these sort of crisis measures that we put in place and these sort of temporary workflows, once we get back to normal again or whatever that is, which of them do we keep? Do we harden some of them? Do we make it more robust? Because, some of the things were very much done, with a wing and a prayer. But they did work. But moving forward, we want to make them, part of our new workflow and our new world. So I think we're in that point where, as people return, we're starting to look at what happens and how we build and rebuild, after this is over.
And you're still getting, it's an interesting thing because, as you say, it was sort of make do for a lot of it, the Apollo 13 moment. But are you still getting, because we are seeing an end, as you say, hopefully an end to it. But are you still getting incoming inquiries about people to help you, to help them make changes to their working environments to make it work? Is it still going that way?
Absolutely, it's going that way. At the minute, we're still, we're shipping lots of things, little cameras, converters, streaming devices, things just to make a single production work for a moment, just to get something out. Because it's one of those things, every time something, we do something or a customer does something now, it's quite often effectively for the first time again. Perhaps we can have more people in the room now. So the way you're filming is changed. Corporate gigs are changing. All sorts of things are sort of, being redefined as we move forward to the next stage, which means new problems occur. So I think at the minute we're going through one of the most creative times in a way that we've seen. And the engineers are really working hard to deliver, solutions that really are still very new. But I don't think that will go on forever. I think what happens when we get back, this, for example, hybrid working is something we're all talking about and we're reading about. I don't think anyone's going to go back to work exactly, the way we did a year ago. The idea of working from home is now, pretty solid. And I think we're going to see everyone from editors, some producers, but also news reporters and anchors and people who contribute to programs. I think one of the good things, if you watch news, for example, now, because a Zoom call is now accepted to get on air, we're seeing a whole range of people coming on to talk on the show that we'd never have got before. We'd never got a truck to them, or we'd never got them in the studio. And that, encourages diversity and it encourages change and some new people talking, which can only be a good thing. So I think it's going to touch everywhere from the edit suite, all the way down to the presenter.
So, a year or so ago, Marc, remote production was something that, wasn't for most people. It was for the likes of the major broadcasters or large scale, but it was probably the most used phrase on KitPlus TV about what different people have done to make their productions remote. I mean, how do you see that going forwards in the medium to long term?
Again, I think the cat's out the bag with that now. We won't go back to working the same way as we had before. I think it doesn't matter whether it's for COVID. I mean, COVID was the agent for change. But for example, if we're not shipping containers and trucks around the world, we're making our eco footprint smaller. If we're able to have operators working from home, there's a work-life balance thing as well as, the carbon credentials that go along with that. So, OBs are tough on people, and, not everybody wants to do that. So I think there's a lot of advantages from keeping things, remote and working that way. And what COVID's done is accelerate that change because people have tried things. We're using the public internet with SRT, for example, Keeler Views Encoders or AJA's Bridge Live, to put streaming content and production material over the public internet, and with some great results. And, I think in the past, we've always been a very conservative nation, especially in the UK. We've always had a lot of, existing static links, and we've always had a lot of trucks, microwaves, COFDEM, all of those type of things. Because we're quite a small island, we can make it work. When some of that disappeared or wasn't so easy, people have tried out new ways of working and found out that we're getting great results for significantly less cost. And again, I don't know anybody who comes to me and tells me they want to spend more on their production.
No, absolutely right. But, I still struggle with a little bit of the concept that we, as an industry, as a creative industry, and certainly when you're talking about talent at home, are we an industry where the talent are going to continue to work from home? Okay, I can see them getting away with it, perhaps a little bit of voiceover with a blanket or a duvet. But, there are some things that you can't do from home, surely.
Absolutely. But there are many things you can. So let's say that you can reduce your travel by 30%. Well, that's pretty good. And I think for some people that'll be enough. Okay. I also see for serious people, you've already seen it with reporters, they've built their own voiceover booths from home. And for some of these people, the actors, VO people, they've got enough cash to do it. We're not talking about a lot. So I think, I definitely can see that there. But really what's got me is things like Soho editors, people who you would have always said in the past, people are always going to want to edit in Soho. You're never going to want to move that. Well, I'm seeing editors who are being really productive working from home and producing some great material and getting back 3 hours a day travel. And I think, that's the kind of thing that will really drive, the market. The rent situation in London has gone out of control. So again, I think a lot of facilities' fixed costs may change by moving and people working from home. And, I think people have had a year now to look at their bank balance and work out what that means. If they're still producing all the material they were and they can halve their building costs, that sounds pretty compelling.
So don't want to put you on the spot now, Mark, but on top of your head, from a hardware perspective, what are the top 3 bits of kit that you've seen most popular over the last 6 months or so?
Well, firstly, I would say transcode, for example, is still very strong market for us. The Vantage transcode can work either on-prem, hybrid, or in the cloud. And you can imagine the volumes of VOD content. Thankfully, the iPlayer, ITV player, Netflix, Amazon Prime, that's kept bums on seats. That's kept people indoors on the sofa instead of outdoors spreading the virus. So I think for as an industry, we should be very proud of what we've done with video on demand playing a part in this whole COVID fight. And so, what we've been really working with people to do is how they move content around in these times. So Cumulo and their storage has been great. They've got some cloud options, again, on-prem, hybrid, and cloud. There's some tools for moving around between different other cloud providers, which has meant we've been able to get material and media and content where it needed to be processed to carry on. And these are now very greatly managed automated processes. So we're doing it without bums on seats in offices, and we're doing it from home. So, that's been a tremendously important part of everything going on. And then probably things like the TriCaster from NewTek. We are working really hard with their TriCaster 2 Elite product. That allows you to pull together feeds that are perhaps from Zoom or Teams, and even a grid on a Zoom grid can be taken in, and each of the individual quadrants, each of the headshots, if you like, on there, create a new camera source, a new source on the switcher. So you've got a way of sort of managing these sort of slightly weird, general purpose conferencing products and turning them into something that's more broadcast friendly. Another product that's done amazing things, AJA Roy, their ROI product, region of interest product, which is enabling people again to cut out sections of incoming video conferencing packages and all sorts of different tools like that, and create an on-air, quality output. And it's been one of those boxes that's just helped, loads and loads of broadcasters make their conferencing products look better and overall improve the quality of their output. So I guess, that's a little bit spread. It covers quite a lot, but, I think we've just seen some really creative people work out how to use these tools as well, and just, create things that we wouldn't have thought of a year ago.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to put you on the spot a bit now, and I want to know whether there's anything you can talk about coming up. Is there anything, we've had a lot of development, we've had a lot of innovation over the last 12 months. Is it continuing? Have you got anything that any of your partners that you're working with, that you've got any interesting little gadgets coming up?
There's lots of new things coming out. I think it's been very interesting over the last, over the last 12 months. We've had companies, for example, like Telestream, pull a product out of the air just to really help people during COVID. So they have a product called Blim, which enables you to view any kind of media file. We have some quite complex media files in our world, but view them from any cloud service from your browser. So it was a product that didn't exist, that was never thought of, and then all of a sudden, how do people at home see what's on their S3 bucket, so they can find out what to send to the editors? And that came from nowhere. TriCast 2 Elite, I've mentioned, that brought in these features just at the right time. I think some of the manufacturers have kind of changed their schedules a little bit so that they can perhaps, make the products coming out in the future a little bit more useful in the new world that we've got. I think the fact that NAB and IBC have moved around has meant that these fixed points in time where products normally got launched have gone for the time being. So, what we haven't got, this would have been NAB week. I haven't seen 600 new products being launched this week. So, I think that we're seeing a more
it's kind of nice in a way. Yeah.
It is, isn't it? It does feel it does feel very weird being at home in the middle of April. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
But I think we've got quite a few new things coming out, but the pace is a little bit slower right now. I think manufacturers are spending time, getting their ducks in a row, and as their development teams are taking a bit longer to do something because they're all in different places for a start. But I actually think that this has been a great time for reflection, and again for people to go out and try some new things. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about that I can talk about, but I can tell you to watch this space.
So Mark, where can people find out more about everything we've been talking about today?
Best place to go, our website, www.boxer.co.uk.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Mark. It's always great to catch up, and certainly a lot of food for thought and things for people to research on that website. So thanks again. And thanks to Mediaproxy for their support of KitPlus TV. You can find out more about them at mediaproxy.com. And don't forget, all of our shows are now available on a podcast, so you can listen on the move as well. We'll see you next time.